Not every challenge with a nanny is a reason to let them go. Sometimes what looks like friction, what looks like small misalignments, it's actually an opportunity to build trust, stability, and a working relationship that will last. In my previous episode, I talked about it matters how you let your nanny go. And today, I want to talk about the flip side when patience and endurance are actually your best tools, and why keeping the right nanny through life's ups and downs can be one of the smartest decisions you can make for your family. Let's be honest, being a parent is stressful enough without constantly swapping nannies, right? And yes, there are times when letting it go. And yes, there are times when letting go is necessary. And I talked a lot about this in the previous episode. But not every hiccup means it's time to say goodbye. Think of your nanny not just as a hire, but as part of your family ecosystem. And sometimes investing in that relationship in the long term pays off in ways that are not immediately obvious. And I have a testimony towards that. Like the current nanny that we have, we've hired her since from 2013. So I was distant parenting at the time. So she was staying with my parents and my daughter, and she started in 2013. And she and my mom had like a fallout in 2017. Really, the fallout was just miscommunicated expectations, and that's why the working relationship had to end then. And then fast forward to 2020, um, in 2019, I did mention this in my previous episode, that, I cycled through three nannies and I had a fallout with the last nanny that we hired in 2019 in December. And so now fast forward to 2020, we I just didn't know what to do because I tried to look for an agency through I tried to look for a nanny through an agency and it didn't work out. The nanny that I got in December, after that the other nanny left, I found a nanny in December. She didn't pitch her. The agencies just like it was just wasn't working, and then my mom suggested that let's call her back because she's not gonna be staying with me now, she'll be staying with you. And the dynamics are different now, so let's call her and find out if she's looking for a job. And lo and behold, she was available, and the next day she came, and we have been with her since then. And it's just been such a blessing to have her back. I remember in 2021, I was unemployed. I left my job because of just going through a lot, and so I was unemployed. And my parents were kind enough to help me pay the nanny. And let me tell you, it was a heavy season emotionally, mentally, financially. I was trying to figure out what's next. And during that time, having a stable nanny in my home, it was a lifeline. I could focus on healing. I could focus on, my next career moves and make decisions with clarity instead of chaos. And my kids, they have someone that is consistent, someone who could keep up with routines, someone who's steady while I was navigating through these transitions. And that stability didn't just help me, it helped my whole household to stay grounded. And it made me realize having a nanny who is willing to stick it out, who aligns with your family, can be one of the greatest investments you can make, not just in childcare, but in your own peace of mind and the emotional health of your kids. And so, if you are wondering, like, okay, how do I know that I need to endure with this nanny? How do I know that I shouldn't let her go? What are the signs? So, the first thing is having a nanny that has the willingness to learn. It's easy to get frustrated when things aren't done exactly the way you imagined, but the real gold is in effort. And anyone who actively listens when you give feedbacks, um, asks thoughtful questions, and tries to implement suggestions just shows a growth mindset. And you need to remember that perfection is unrealistic, but improvement is achievable. That curiosity, desire to get better, is a signal she's invested in your family and not just collecting a paycheck. And the second thing is emotional alignment. Even if her habits aren't flawless, emotional alignment matters more than you think. If she intuitively understands your family values, respect your routines, approaches your children with care that reflects your philosophy, that's huge. And this alignment sets the tone for harmony in your home. It's the difference between compliance and true partnership. And the third thing is that um you need to just pay attention to the small wins. Progress is really rarely instant. It's in the very little things, the very little victories. Things like when she remembers to prepare snacks without being reminded, engages your child in learning activities, or handles a challenging situation calmly. These small wins might seem insignificant day to day, but they indicate sustainable growth. And if you notice these improvements sticking out over the few weeks, that's a strong signal that patience is paying off. The third thing is the reliability in core areas. I mean, some things are non-negotiable, safety, routines, and basic care. If she's consistently dependable in these areas, your child is safe, and your child is fed and nurtured, then you have a solid foundation to build on. Minor annoyance or differences that are here and there are easier to navigate when the essentials are non-negotiably covered. The fourth thing is the positive impact on your kids, and this is a big one, and this is like the ultimate sign. Your children, and you need to ask yourself: is my children happy when she's around? Are they thriving emotionally and socially? Is the bond between her and your children growing? Children often sense authentic care. And if your kids respond positively, that's a strong indicator that her presence is beneficial, even if some of the habits are not perfect. And patience doesn't mean tolerating deal breakers, it means recognizing the difference between workable challenges and red flags. And that distinction is very key. And these are some of the long-term benefits of investing in a relationship can give you. It would be emotional stability for your kids. And children thrive on consistency. And when a nanny stays and grows with your family, kids feel safe, secure, and understood. They develop trust, knowing that the adults around them are reliable and emotionally steady. Over time, this stability helps them regulate their own emotions better, and it builds a strong sense of belonging and confidence. And when I tell you that right now, like my kids are so happy, my son does not want anything with our nanny. He's very, very protective of her. And yeah, it's just so beautiful to watch when you invest in this relationship. And the second thing um, is peace of mind for you as a parent during life transitions. Life doesn't pause for a newborn, a job change, or a move, and neither do the demands of parenting. And having a nanny who's committed long term just gives you the breathing room. You can focus on your work, your partner, or personal growth without constantly worrying about disruptions in care. And that kind of peace of mind is priceless. It's like having a safety net that catches both you and your child and your sanity. And the other long term benefit is the ability to lead your family and grow as a parent without constant disruption. A consistent nanny allows you to focus on the bigger picture, guiding your children, shaping routines, and intentionally growing as a parent instead of being stuck in daily firefighting, training new nannies, re explaining the rules, or just dealing with inconsistency. You can actually exercise leadership in your home when you have a stable nanny. You get to model the values, you get to set expectations and nurture relationships, all while trusting that the basics are solidly covered. And, another benefit is that you get to have a household culture that is consistent and that is also values driven. And when the same person is present over time, your household develops a rhythm. Traditions, routines, and family values are reinforced and they're not disrupted. The nanny doesn't just follow instructions, she becomes part of the culture, helping your children internalize lessons about respect, about kindness, and responsibility. And over time, this shared culture creates a harmonious environment where everyone knows what to expect and thrives within it. So, the next time you feel frustrated with your nanny, you just need to take a pause and ask yourself, is this a temporary bump that can be worked through? Or is it truly a sign that it's time to let go? Often a little patience, some honest communication, and small adjustments can transform friction into flourishing. And I'd love to hear your stories when patience with a nanny paid off, or when you realized it was time to move on. Share your experience in the comments. And if you are, when you've been listening to this episode and you definitely, I need to let go of my nanny and I want to do things differently the next time I hire a nanny, you can download my guide. It has a care framework where it will help you to search, interview, and manage a nanny. So you can download the free guide. The link is in the description below. If you know someone that is on the fence of whether they need to let their nanny go or they don't know what to do, just send them this episode so that they can, you know, have another perspective before they decide to let their nanny go. I will see you in the next video. Thanks for listening.